And now the match is underway. And Macho Man Randy Savage on the pursuit of the Hart Foundation. Macho Man going right after Bret Hart. Boom. And Bret gets sent face first into the ring post. You saw that shot right before the bell rang of the concerned look on the face of Miss Elizabeth, as there's only so much she can do being in the corner of Macho Man Randy Savage while Bret Hart has his tag team partner Jim the Anvil Neidhart in his corner. Meanwhile, Savage, an elbow and some shots to Hart in the corner. Macho Man bending a few rules. And a double reversal and a counter. A double reversal to a counter. Is the Hitman with a clubbing shots. And the thing about it is the Hitman hits with such impact. Bret Hart has such force, such intent with each shot. Meanwhile, the Hart Foundation's manager, Jimmy Hart, barking orders, talking smack through that megaphone. Talk about having a hype man. The mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. And Savage got a nice shot on Hart. And a nice elbow from Savage. Meanwhile, it's Hart out on the ring apron. And Savage has Hart on the ropes, leaning back. And the ref pulled back Savage. Meanwhile, Savage pushed off Hart, setting Hart hard into the steel guardrail. Hart could be out. There is nothing comfortable about that whatsoever. That is hard reinforced steel guardrails that protect the fans from the action that goes on at ringside. And seemingly came to be used as a weapon in this case. Meanwhile, it's Neidhart up on the apron, and Jimmy Hart trying to tell Neidhart to get down. And Neidhart and Jimmy Hart get their heads smashed against each other by the Macho Man, who jumps up at the top. Went for a double axe handle, but gets caught by Bret. And Bret took advantage of the opportunity, taking his shot, and now it's Hart who's back in control. And it's Miss Elizabeth who's checking in on Hart. Neidhart taking advantage of the opportunity with a cheap shot to Macho Man before sending him back to the ring to feed him to Bret Hart. It's almost like it's a 3-on-1. And like I said earlier, I would say it's a 3-on-2, but Miss Elizabeth isn't really much help in a situation like this. You've got Bret, Savage in the ring. You've got Bret and Savage in the ring. And then in Bret's corner, you've got Jim the Anvil Neidhart, his tag team partner, and the manager of the Hart Foundation, Jimmy Hart, the mouth of the South. And Randy Savage, who is seeing the world from upside down, as Bret has Savage all tied up. Savage trying to use that core strength to pull himself up, and Savage able to pull himself down. And Hart, oh God, oh my God, and a pile driver and a 2 count, And Savage able to kick out at 2. A near fall off that pile driver. The pile driver can be so dangerous, so devastating. What it can do, compressing the spine. It can break a man's neck. And Bret with an elbow to Macho Man. Macho Man now. You can see the wear and tear from this match as Savage is moving slower. And whip to the buckle, but nobody home as Savage got out of harm's way. And Savage sends Hart hard into the opposite corner. Shoulder first into the steel ring post. Much needed counter for Macho Man Randy Savage. And sends Hart over. And now it's Savage who heads up to the top. Looking for it. Double axe handle takes out Hart. And out going for the cover. Will it be? And a near fall. And Bret Hart kicking out just before the 3. Now, somehow Hart is still fighting after that. Look at that backbreaker from Hart. Bret Hart now back in control just like that. Is Hart. One half of the Hart Foundation back in the driver's seat. One for that elbow drop off the middle turnbuckle, but nobody home as Macho Man finds a way to get out the way. And Macho Man, nice kick there to Hart. Oh, over the top. A head ringer for Hart. Neck gets caught up on the top rope for the win. But another close call. Another 2 count there for Savage on Hart. And Randy Savage, who has Hart all caught up in the ropes. The ref forcing the rope break. Meanwhile, the distraction as the ref was pulling Savage back allowed Hart to flip Savage to the outside onto the floor. And the leg of Savage could be severely damaged after that. That height that Savage took when he went up and then crashed down onto the floor on the outside. This could have a big impact on the game plan of Savage as this match goes on. And you could see Miss Elizabeth coming to the aid of Savage. What happens for Savage if he can't continue? Meanwhile, Miss Elizabeth helping Savage unlace the boot to see what the condition is. And Bret Hart coming around. Meanwhile, there's all kinds of... And we'll be right back as Saturday Night's Main Event continues. And we are back live on Saturday Night's Main Event. Miss Elizabeth able to help Macho Man get the boot off to see what condition the leg is in. Savage going to continue this match with one boot, perhaps even one leg, one working leg. With the leg of Macho Man in question, having a hard time standing on it, that elbow drop is nowhere near going to come into play in this match. And that kills a huge part of Savage's game plan. And to especially attempting to get the victory on Hart. So when you're grounded in such a situation like this, your best bet is play defense now. Come up with a defensive game plan. Play to the ground. Meanwhile, it's Hart who's continuously stomping on that ankle. The ref is trying to hold back Hart, who is using the ropes for leverage. And Hart has Savage right where he wants him. Nearly shattering the ankle on the ring post. Oh my God, absolutely brutal. How much more can the Macho Man endure at the hands of Bret the Hitman Hart? Bret continuing to ram the knee into the ankle of Savage. How much more can Savage take? And Bret, look at the way that he's got the twist on the ankle of Savage. Savage able to force free and sends Hart shoulder first into the post. But can Savage fully capitalize on the opportunity? Will he be the one-legged legend? A one-winged warrior? 2 count. Only enough for a 2 off that counter by Savage. And Savage, who can hardly stand up, being taken fully advantage of by Bret Hart, who's got deep control of the leg of Savage that has been severely damaged by Hart throughout this match. And now with the leg fully exposed, Bret can take full advantage. Now has this single leg crab applied on Savage, who is in deep trouble right now, going through a lot of pain. And the break has been forced as Savage was able to make it onto the ropes, forcing a rope break. And Bret, who just yanked Savage over the top back into the ring. Savage, who is in a tremendous amount of pain. It's been hard for Savage to be on his feet since the fall to the outside onto the floor. And since the boot came off, you haven't seen Savage on his feet too much. We're finding out the limits of Savage. The longer this match goes on, the more we're going to see what these limitations are of Savage. Wait. Counter. 2, 3. Savage has done it. Savage is a one-winged warrior with the victory over the Hitman. Jimmy Anvil Neidhart came in the ring right after the attack on Savage. Now the megaphone. But Jimmy Hart misses. Savage got out of the way. Jimmy Hart hit Bret Hart. Oh. And just barely getting a little bit of a shot with that megaphone on a Jimmy Hart, who goes mostly unscathed. What a match between Hart and Savage. And Macho Man Randy Savage, who is able to pull out the victory on Bret Hart despite being a one-legged warrior with no left foot for any kind of extra added momentum. Savage had a lot of his repertoire taken out of play when his leg was taken out, but nonetheless, Macho Man found a way to push through and pull out the victory here at Saturday night's main event. Oh my God. He can hardly walk to the back. Meanwhile, Miss Elizabeth, deeply concerned expression on her face. Nonetheless, Savage is the victor.